Hello, I'm Caroline Gow in the Baird and Warner Glenbrook office, and it's March of 2021, and I'm ready to give you the market update. So I'm not going to bore you with boring stats. I will scatter those in throughout this video. However, I did want to focus on two things that we're seeing in our current market in Northbrook right now. And the first two things are the phenomenon that's called the coming soon and properties selling before they hit the market. And the second thing is that we need to think differently. So first up, I'm calling it a phenomenon because this has really become an issue about properties that are in the coming soon. Not all of them go to coming soon. Some just hit the market with photos and are on live on the market. Other properties are in the coming soon for agents' eyes. And some of these properties are able to be shown. Some of them don't have pictures yet, but there's so much action on these that they can be sold before it hits the market. I don't quite understand how this is in the best interest of the seller, because the seller needs to have exposure, and it's only a seller's market if every single buyer knows about your property. However, this is happening, and so you need to be aware of it. However, I would also say the second thing is to think differently, because there's a lot of headlines about low inventory, and that certainly is true. In fact, there are 227 new properties, and that is down 26% over this time last year. So we are having an inventory shortage in Northbrook. However, there were 711 properties that were sold, and that is an increase in units 10% over last year at this time. So things are moving, people are buying, people are selling. The average sales price in Northbrook is $508,000. And that actually, this is surprising, wait for it, that is up 6% over last year. So we are seeing an uptick in appreciation, and we don't know how long this will last. So it would probably be a good idea to capitalize on the low interest rates and lock in a good rate before prices keep going up. The market time, though, is 103 days. So that brings me to my second point about think differently, in the sense that it's the impression that things are selling before they hit market or the first weekend. However, the average number of properties is they're selling in 103 days. And there are properties to look at. So when I say think differently, I would like to challenge you to consider, well, perhaps there's something that we can do after you move in. I can help you with renovations. Maybe we would want to update a kitchen, or perhaps we would do some painting and flooring, and things that maybe you didn't want to do. Maybe you would consider that this time, to get a house in the school district that you want, the layout that you want, that is a big thing because you can't change that. Or perhaps in a location on the block, because in a shortage of inventory period, when it's a seller's market, we want to think maybe it's an 85% good house for what's on your wish list. So it's important for us to kind of hone in on what's very important to you. Things like layout, location, you can't change. Perhaps you can add an addition if it's not quite the size that you need. Or perhaps you need to do some work before you move in. But the important thing is to look at the long term. This is going to be the house that you're going to invest in and raise your family in. So we want to think about different options, and I can help you. I have great providers that can help you renovate. We've been talking to homeowners who have done recent projects. And then also the interest rates are really low, so you can capitalize on that and build for the long term. That brings up another point about thinking differently. So perhaps there's a house that's been on the market for a little bit. Even if it's 30 days, it seems like a long time, but it's really not. Perhaps the seller, if it's a little bit out of your budget, maybe the seller would negotiate knowing that it hasn't sold instantly, and there might be some more room, as opposed to if it's a brand new listing that's priced well. We're seeing 8, 9 offers on some of these properties. There's just a huge demand. So if we find a house that is in your price range but maybe a little stretched, maybe there's more room to negotiate. The other thing is to talk about is multiple offers, and I have strategies in place to help us win in a multiple offer. And some of my secret sauce includes building rapport with the listing agent. So I have a good reputation in our area, and I use that to help build relationships with other agents. And they know that when I have a deal, it's going to close, and it's going to be a pleasant experience working with me. The other thing that we can do is to not focus only on price. There are other ways that we can sweeten your offer so that the seller is going to be confident in that contract. One of the things would be to get a second opinion on your pre-approval. You're free to choose whatever lender that you have a relationship with. If you have a second pre-approval letter, though, it's showing the seller that you are very well qualified and they have confidence that this deal is not going to fall apart. The other thing I do is I write a cover letter. It's not flowery. It's very logical. It's telling a little bit about you and why this would be a good fit for you, and what the seller has to offer that is very attractive to you. However, it also makes it very concise for the seller and the agent to see, and they appreciate that, because if you know that there are other offers being considered, when you submit a very clean offer, with clean being the way it's presented with everything in order, that's one clean, but also just cleaning up the contingencies and getting rid of anything that we would not need for a better offer. So to recap, yes, there is a low inventory and it's a seller's market in Northbrook at the moment. However, the very much wow houses are getting the action, and the other houses, there is inventory to look at. So in any given price range, there are homes that we can consider. They might not be 100% perfect, but no house is, and I'll help you think of out of the box and other strategies so that you can think of this as your new dream home. Let's go.